Steelers collapse and go 9-8, he says he doesn't see the Steelers going to the playoffs. He sees them having that late season collapse. Remember that year they started 11-0? What was it, like 11-0, 12-0? And then all of a sudden they just lost to like every team down the stretch and didn't even make the – or no, I think they made the playoffs and they got smoked by the Chiefs. But the Steelers collapsing, going 9-8, do you think that happens?
You look at the Pittsburg Steelers, right? They started out with Justin Fields. Then they took 2 losses against the Colts and the Cowboys, right? Both being really close games, 27-24 in Indianapolis. Then you have that 20-17 loss hosting the Dallas Cowboys, which was kind of unlucky, just Dak Prescott with that final game-winning drive. I mean, so unlucky for those Steelers fans. But, now back-to-back wins with the Raiders win, right? Justin Fields. Now, you have Russell Wilson who's coming in here, and I think he's just done a fantastic job at just being able to be a quarterback that just moves the football. I mean, in that game against the New York Jets specifically, he had 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 109 passer rating. So he's just done a great job at making sure he's not turning over the football, right? Something that we sort of saw in Denver and we were kind of concerned with. Like, are we going to get that old Russell Wilson? We might not, but we're going to get a version of Russell Wilson that's safe with the football, as we see, that's moving the chains, that's, being able to really get those touchdowns and put his players in positions to win. We want to see that Russell Wilson, and I think we are starting to get that with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think they could go 9-8. I mean, did they say missing the playoffs? Is that the take as well?
That's what I've written down. Let me just double check because I might have just put that down by accident. That part. Steelers collapse. Yep, and they had them missing the playoffs.
Missing the playoffs. I think they could make the playoffs. So I would say, for sake, I would say it's cool. Like, I could see them missing the playoffs, but at the same time, considering Mike Tomlin's record of not having a losing season, I think they could possibly still sneak in that playoff hunt, maybe try to make a run of their own. But, destroying the Jets the way they did, I think the Steelers have an amazing defense. They have an offense that could definitely move the ball. Yes, they're number 25 in yards per carry. You can argue that. But because of injuries, right? Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, some of them have been out in numerous games so far in the year. So I think as long as those two can stay healthy, their running game looks fantastic. Their strength of schedule, 20th, right? They do have the Washington Commanders, right? The Ravens. They do have some tough opponents. They have their own division opponents, the Browns twice. You got the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs. I mean, you do have some strong AFC opponents here, and, it's up to see what Russell Wilson could do with this offense right here. But what are your thoughts, on the Steelers? Do you think that they missed the playoffs, or do you think there's a possibility of them making it as well?
I don't see them missing the playoffs. This is too talented a football team that is coached by such a phenomenal head coach. He's not going to let these guys collapse like they did that year, when they went 11-0. And this team is too talented to let that happen. The offensive line is getting better. They've got some weapons. Finally, George Pickens has a quarterback that, knows what he's looking at and has some experience and just say, hey, just give me a couple bucket passages. Just give me a chance to go and head top the guy a couple of times. That's what George Pickens is great at. He's not great at getting separation. He never has been. He's great at just going up and getting the football. And Russell Wilson giving him a couple chances, and look what happened. And don't forget, they have a couple more weapons all over. That Darnell Washington from Georgia, really nice tight end. Pat Freiermuth. A lot of people, when he was coming out, people were calling him Baby Gronk. I'm like, okay, but he is really good. He is really good nonetheless. Yeah. But I don't see them collapsing, man. They're too well coached. Russell Wilson. At first, when I first heard that Russell Wilson was starting over Fields after Fields just had like his best game, I'm like, why? This doesn't make any sense. Maybe at first I was thinking, okay, maybe they're just going to try and keep teams on their toes, and they're not really going to start Russell Wilson, just force teams to prepare for both quarterbacks instead of just one. But they ended up starting Russell Wilson. Proved me wrong. And I really like how Mike Tomlin went out and he goes, that was my decision. Even though everyone was pissed and mad, he goes, that's my decision. I'm not here to just win games. I'm here to go and win a Super Bowl. I like a coach who takes accountability, and he's going to do what he thinks is best. And he was right. Proved me wrong. But the Steelers missing the playoffs and collapsing, maybe 9-8 is plausible considering how difficult the rest of their schedule is. But their conference record, they are 4-1 in the conference already. And, they should have 2 wins against the Browns. Should. You never know. It's divisional. I say they split with the Bengals. And I say I say lose to the Ravens twice. Okay, the Ravens looking like a really darn good football team, but you never know. It's a divisional game. They could very easily split.
Yeah,
Commanders, I say they beat the Commanders. The Commanders are a tough team, but I don't think the Commanders
yeah,
have
coming
seen
off that bye as well.
Right, right, right. So I do think that they will find a way to beat the Commanders. I mean, I don't see them missing on the playoffs. I'm going to go hot. I'm going to go hot. Very well coached team. I don't think Mike Tomlin, this Steelers team, has had a losing record since he's been the head coach. I mean, the defense way too good. Najee Harris, he's had a really nice stretch, and he hasn't looked good until this stretch. I mean, first time he's
Yeah,
really putting a couple good games together. And maybe it's because of you have a quarterback that can really move, open up the run game. We see with the Colts when Anthony Richardson's in there, and you have
yeah,
Jonathan Taylor. The run game is so much different. When you have a quarterback that can move, it makes it that much more difficult for the defense to stop the run. So Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, like you said, really good backs as long as they can stay healthy. So missing the playoffs, I'm going hot, man. And I don't see them missing.
yeah,
Good football team, and we'll see though. One last thing I want to bring up about Russ Wilson is it's a brand new quarterback, so the offense is going to look a little different. There's no there's no
exactly.
film, there's no tape on him in this offense. So we'll have to
Yeah,
see how the Steelers do after a couple weeks when there's more film out in the offense. Is this offense going to slow down? Are they going to be able to evolve when that tape comes out and the defenses change up what they're doing? So I go. I'm still going hot. It's still a really good football team. They have so many good pieces. I just don't see them missing.
yeah, and I think the Steelers, again, like you said, I just don't see them missing the playoffs. I mean, yeah, there are years where they're like 8-8-1 or 9-8, and they barely miss the playoffs. But I just think this is a year where they can sneak in, get the seventh or sixth seed, and maybe even upset one team, right? I just think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team they're that team that no one wants to face in the NFL. I feel like they're always that team that's just that chip on your shoulder. They're always going to be there, no matter what. They're a scrappy, physical team. So yeah, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, they did a good job there. I'm going to go a little cool here. I could see it happening, but at the same time, I'm kind of with you there. It also could happen where they do miss or make the playoffs as well.
One
But
last thing I want to
looks
throw
like,
in there.
oh
When
yeah.
you're done, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Go ahead. Finish up.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, them making the playoffs again. It is a possibility, but I think I'm gonna go cool. Just agreeing, they can miss the playoffs as well. But as you were saying,
I say if they play the Bills, they upset the Bills in round one. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. I'm
ooh,
saying it because that Bills run defense has not been good.
ooh,
Josh Allen,
yeah,
when they play really good defense, what are they going to do? Is Josh Allen's inconsistent? Sometimes playoff Bills are just a different story. When they go down stretch, they're just a different story. So going into Buffalo, that's going to be tough. But I
yeah,
actually think it's a decent matchup for the Steelers. I mean, you have really good defense. We'll see. Amari Cooper just had a really nice game with the Bills. Amari Cooper, Khalil Shakir has a little bit of help, and they have Dalton Kincaid. They
yeah,
have all those weapons, and Dalvin Cook. But no, not Dalvin Cook. James Cook, their brother. I'm mixing up the brothers. I'm
oh
mixing
yeah,
up the Cooks. But I think they can beat the Bills if they make the playoffs. I think they can play spoiler. Spoiler. After that, play the Chiefs.
yeah,
Probably not.
yeah. I mean, considering the fact that they had Mason Rudolph last year when they faced the Bills, exactly wasn't the best quarterback because Mason Rudolph is normally he's a backup, right? But you look at Russell Wilson, who was proving he could actually be a starter. I think that with Russell Wilson, they actually would have a chance against some of these big AFC teams, but that remains to be seen. We have to see how they fare up against the Ravens, but more though against the Chiefs, right? Later on in that schedule, that's definitely going to be a test for them as well. But yeah, as we go on further,